Motherhood, no matter what journey that you're in, is exciting. Whether you're a new mom or a seasoned mom or a pro-professional mom, you are excited. You are excited to get the positive pregnancy test. You are excited for the baby showers, and you're excited to feel the flutters of your new baby in your tummy. Motherhood is so glorified, I want to say. Motherhood looks fabulous to some, and to some it is just that, fabulous. However, there is one deep darkness that isn't really spoken a lot about. You see, I actually have a child, and you do a bunch of parenting classes. You can do them. And I went to 6 different parenting classes before she was ever even born. And not one thing was ever discussed, and that was postpartum depression. I learned how to change a diaper. I learned how to give CPR. I learned how to make sure me and my husband had a great connection after the baby. But one thing that I did not learn was how to make sure that I was going to be mentally okay after having a baby. Postpartum depression is something that occurs after childbirth. And to the people who are at more of a risk for postpartum depression, excuse me, I'm sorry. I skipped a part. That's okay though. People who develop postpartum depression are at a greater risk to develop major depression later on. So while it starts out as postpartum depression, it can go on to significant depression. And when I say that, I mean, you can become dependent on medication, which is okay. It is okay if you need those things. Symptoms of postpartum depression is going to be loss of appetite, irritability, trouble bonding with the baby. So how common is postpartum depression? 1 in 8 women will develop postpartum depression. 1 in 7 are married. And it's funny because they say you need to have a good household and you need to have a good partner, but still 1 in 7 women develop postpartum depression. 70% of moms who had postpartum depression will have it again, whether it's on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th baby. They will develop it again. And it has actually been causing a lot of women to not even have a 2nd baby. I personally know at least 2 women who have had their 1st baby but say they never want to go through postpartum depression again, so they're going to stick with that 1st baby. They would rather go through labor and delivery than postpartum depression. Higher risk for moms also with twins. Just want to throw that in there as well. These are the common symptoms. So difficulty bonding is a big one. Having trouble, bonding with your baby. Mood swings, restlessness, feeling antsy or on edge, insomnia, and difficulty eating, and lots of anxiety is going to be your main common symptoms right there. So what causes postpartum depression? The big factors I put up here. So a history of depression and trauma. So if you had traumas or any sort of depression in your childhood, high school, college, anytime before you ever had a baby, that already puts you at a higher risk than someone who didn't have those issues early on in life. So that part is very interesting to me. The obvious is, your estrogen and progesterone plummet. You have that baby and your hormones are dropping almost immediately. Another one is going to be a difficulty pregnancy or delivery. So if your birth plan didn't go as how you planned, you wanted to have a natural birth and no epidural, and then you have an emergency C-section, your epidural fails, and then you get knocked out cold, and then you wake up hours later, have no clue where you're at, that's obviously going to cause a lot of issues. The last one is going to be a socioeconomic one, which is low income. While reading and researching, I did see that people who are in the poverty line actually have a higher risk of postpartum depression just because they have a less chance of having the better health care than someone of a higher status. So experiences with postpartum depression is, did you know that each woman only gets 1 appointment after having a baby? So you go into the hospital, you get a baby cut out of you, or you deliver a baby, and then they hand you a baby and you go home, and you're just supposed to deal with it. You are supposed to know everything, and you're going to be 100% okay, and then in 6 weeks your doctor's going to walk in and he's going to say, "Hey, how you doing?" And you say, "Well, doc, I'm a little down," and he's going to say, "Well, you look okay to me." and he can't see up here, and he tells you you got the baby blues and you go on your way. So postpartum depression is often misdiagnosed as the baby blues, and it is not, because postpartum depression is much more than the baby blues. These are some preventative options. So the obvious are medication, therapy, diet, health changes, things like that. You know, they say go on a walk, take care of yourself. I remember being a new mom, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't wash my hair, I don't think, for 2 weeks, and I obviously needed to. So those are some big ones, and always ask for help. I don't care, go to the neighbor, tell them you need some help. I'm sure somebody will help. Postpartum depression is common. It is not taboo like people try to make it out to be. Postpartum depression, though, is not talked about enough. I personally believe that women's health care is not strong, and that it does not have a good foundation, especially for new moms. New moms are becoming new human beings too, and then you're taking care of a new person. And it should be so much more than one appointment and someone saying, hey, how are you doing? There should be follow-ups, and there should be lots more of attention for the new moms. And then I just put this in here, and I just want to say seeking help is a sign of strength and not weakness. And the last slide is going to be my works cited, and that is it. So I would just like to say that if you are struggling with postpartum depression, there are resources out there to help. Quick Google, friend, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There are multiple magnitudes of postpartum depression help online, at least. And that is it. Thank you for watching.